Assalamu Alaikum.
Walaikum Assalam. Did the Prophet go to Egypt, Baba? What happened then?
You look so excited.
Please tell me the rest of the story, Baba.
Inshallah, I will tell you the story of how Prophet Musa alayhi salam confronted the Pharaoh. Are you ready?
Yes.
Bismillah. In the last episode, we saw how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Musa alayhi salam to go to Egypt for delivering his message. The Prophet then took his family and set off in the direction of Egypt. They walked for many days and finally they arrived in Egypt. When they reached outside the city, his brother Haroon alayhi salam was waiting for him. Haroon alayhi salam was a prophet as well. He had received a vision from God, and in the vision he had seen that his younger brother would soon arrive to set the Israelites free. When Musa alayhi salam realized that this was his brother, he was in tears. Then both of them walked toward the palace. The Prophet had not been to Egypt for many years and he knew that his life was in danger. Nothing could have brought him back except the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet could still hear the words of Allah ringing in his ears. Go to the Pharaoh and tell him to let the Israelites leave the land of Egypt. Musa alayhi salam now stood in front of the Pharaoh along with his brother. The Prophet spoke to the Pharaoh about Allah and His mercy, but the Pharaoh refused to listen because he considered himself as a god. He listened to the Prophet's speech with disdain. He thought the Prophet was crazy to question his supreme position. After the Prophet finished delivering Allah's message, the Pharaoh raised his hand and asked, "What do you want?" "I want you to send the children of Israel with us," answered the Prophet. "The Israelites are my slaves. Why should I send them with you?" "They are not your slaves. They are the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." This answer angered the Pharaoh. "Are you not Musa?" The Prophet shook his head and answered, "Yes." "We picked you up from River Nile and brought you up, didn't we?" asked the Pharaoh. "Are you not Musa who killed an Egyptian man? You are a fugitive of justice, and how dare you come and speak to me?" The Prophet ignored his sarcasm and explained that he killed the Egyptian in an accident. It was never deliberate. He then informed the Pharaoh that Allah had granted him forgiveness and that he was now one of his messengers. The Pharaoh asked Musa alayhi salam to show a sign to prove that he was the messenger of God. The Prophet threw his stick to the floor and it turned into a serpent. It started slithering and sliding along the floor. The Pharaoh was terrified at first, but he tried hard not to show it. "Ha!" said the Pharaoh arrogantly. "We have many sorcerers in our kingdom who can match your magic." The Pharaoh detained the Prophet and his brother at the palace. He then summoned all the magicians in his kingdom to the palace. The Pharaoh promised huge rewards to them if their magic was found better than the Prophet. The day for the contest arrived, and the palace was crowded with people. The magicians stood on one side, and the Prophet and his brother stood opposite to them. Everyone in the palace took the side of the Pharaoh, and the Prophet and his brother stood alone. Musa alayhi salam asked the magicians to perform first. It is said that there were more than 70 magicians lined up in a row. The magicians threw their sticks and ropes, and suddenly the ground floor was flooded with a sea of serpents. They were writhing and slithering everywhere. The crowd was amazed when they saw this, and they thought the Prophet was never going to beat such powerful magic. Musa alayhi salam was afraid too, but he knew that God was on his side. The Prophet threw his stick to the floor, and suddenly it transformed into a huge serpent. The serpent then ate all other small ones lying on the ground. When the crowd saw this, they stood up like a wave, cheering for the Prophet. The magicians were surprised as well. They knew that this was not just a trick and that the serpent was real. They realized that Musa was not just a magician or a sorcerer. The magicians knew that Musa's power came from something greater. So they fell on their knees seeking forgiveness from Allah. Allah forgave them, but the Pharaoh grew furious. How can you believe in his God before I gave you my permission? He asked them angrily. But the magicians replied, do what you wish, but we fear the punishment of Allah much more than you. The Pharaoh got angry when he heard this. He now realized that he had a problem. As the Prophet kept asking him to free the Israelites, his kingdom was built on the fear of Israelites, and everyone believed him to be the God. He was now worried that his kingdom was about to be unraveled. The Pharaoh felt threatened, and he summoned all the ministers, leaders, for a serious meeting. Am I a liar, O Haman? He opened the session with this question. Haman stood up and asked, Who dared to accuse you of lying? Didn't Musa say that there is a Lord in heaven? Musa is lying, said Haman. The Pharaoh then ordered to kill and torture all those who followed the Prophet. The soldiers then started torturing the Israelites. They slayed the men, and not even the babies were spared. They imprisoned anyone who dared to oppose them. The Prophet stood watching their horrific acts helplessly. He asked the people to be patient and asked them to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. God commanded Musa alayhi salam to warn the Pharaoh that he and the Egyptians would suffer a severe punishment if the children of Israel were not set free. The Prophet agreed and went to meet the Pharaoh again. He then made another demand to release the Israelites, but the Pharaoh refused. It was then that God afflicted Egypt with a severe drought. Even the lush, green and fertile valleys of Nile began to wither and die. The crops failed and the animals began to die. Even as the Egyptians suffered because of the famine, the Pharaoh refused to obey and he remained arrogant. Then God sent a huge flood to devastate the land of Egypt. Villages were drowned, the crops were destroyed, and many Egyptians were killed. Then the people, including the chief ministers, appealed to Musa. Musa, they cried, please help us. We shall believe in you and your God if you remove this punishment from us. We shall let the children of Israel go with you. The Prophet then prayed to God, and the land returned to normal. The land became fertile, and the crops grew again. But the children of Israel were still enslaved. They were not allowed to leave as promised. The Prophet asked them to fulfill their promise, but they paid no heed to his request. They ignored him and walked away. He prayed to God again, and this time Allah sent plagues of locusts to Egypt. The locusts attacked the crops and swallowed everything in their path. The people rushed to the Prophet begging for his help. The ministers promised to let go of the Israelites if he would send the locusts away. The Prophet prayed to God again, and the locusts departed. But even now, they didn't let the Israelites leave as they promised. God then sent a plague of lice, spreading disease amongst the Egyptians. It was followed by a plague of frogs that harassed and terrified the people. The people rushed to the Prophet begging to save them. Every time God sent his punishments, they promised to free the Israelites every time. But when God withdrew the punishments, they refused to let go of them. Then the last sign, the sign of blood, was revealed. The water of the river Nile turned into blood. The water appeared normal when the Israelites drank from the river. However, if any Egyptian filled his cup with water, the water turned into blood. They hurried to the Prophet as usual. And as soon as everything returned to normal, they turned their backs on Allah.
MashaAllah, that was such a wonderful story.
Now, are you ready for the questions?
Yes, I am.
All right, now tell me, why did Prophet Musa alayhi salam return to Egypt?
I know that one. God commanded the Prophet to go back to Egypt for freeing the Israelites.
That is correct. Now tell me, what were the punishments sent by Allah in order?
First, God sent a severe drought.
That's right. Then
He sent a devastating flood. Then He sent a plague of locusts, followed by lice and frogs.
excellent. And what was the final punishment?
As a final punishment, God turned Nile water into blood.
MashaAllah, that was excellent. All right, now it's time for me to leave. I will tell you another story tomorrow. Good night, son.
Good night, Baba.